Let's be honest. At some point, almost everybody has looked around and wondered, am I behind in life? Maybe you saw someone buying a house. Maybe someone your age posted a promotion online. Maybe a finance video told you that if you don't have 6 figures invested by now, you're already late. And that can mess with your head. But here's the truth. Net worth is one of the best ways to measure financial progress because it looks at the full picture. Not just your income. Not just your job title. Not just what car you drive or what people think you have. Your net worth is simply what you own minus what you owe. So if you have money in savings, investments or a home, that adds to your net worth. If you have credit card debt, student loans, car loans, or other liabilities, that pulls it down. In this video, we're going to break down net worth by age in 10-year periods, starting at age 10, so you can get a realistic idea of where you stand, whether you're behind, and most importantly, what to do next if you want to get ahead. And one important thing before we start, these are general benchmarks, not rules. Your income, location, family situation, and starting point all matter. So don't use this video to beat yourself up. Use it to get clear and move forward. Let's start with your teens. If you're between 10 and 19 years old, your net worth is probably close to zero, and that is completely normal. At that age, the goal is not to have a massive investment account. The goal is to build the habits that eventually create wealth. If a teenager has a few $100s saved, maybe a small checking account, maybe some birthday money, maybe a part-time job, that's already a great start. What matters in your teens is learning the basics early. Learn how money works. Learn the difference between spending and saving. Learn that debt is not free money. Learn that investing matters. And most importantly, learn that time is your biggest advantage. If you're in your teens and you want to get ahead, here's what to do. Open a savings account, get used to saving part of every dollar you receive, avoid dumb debt, and start building skills that can make you money later. Because at that age, your real asset is not cash. It's time, energy, and the ability to learn faster than most adults around you. Now, let's move into your 20s. If you're between 20 and 29, this is where things start to get real. For a lot of people, this decade is financially messy. You're starting jobs, maybe finishing school, maybe moving out, maybe dealing with student loans, credit cards, or low starting salaries. So if your net worth in your 20s is low, that does not automatically mean you failed. A rough benchmark for your 20s is this. If your net worth is negative, you're not alone, but you need a plan. If it's around $0 to $25,000, you're at least building a base. If you're in the $25,000 to $100,000 range, by your late 20s, you're doing better than a lot of people. And if you've crossed 6 figures before 30, you are definitely ahead. But here's the bigger question. What should you actually be doing in your 20s? First, stop trying to look rich. This is the decade where people sabotage themselves trying to impress other people. Expensive car payments, random shopping, eating out constantly, financing things they can't afford, and calling it self-care. That kills momentum. Your 20s should be about building your foundation. That means build an emergency fund, pay off high-interest debt, start investing consistently, and keep your lifestyle lower than your income can support. If your employer offers a retirement match, take it. If you can invest in a Roth IRA, learn how it works. If you can save even a few $100s a month consistently, do it. Your 20s are not about perfection. They're about direction. Now let's talk about your 30s. If you're between 30 and 39, this is where many people start comparing themselves hard. Because by now, it feels like you should have it together. A rough benchmark here might look like this. Under $50,000 net worth could mean you need to make major adjustments. Around $100,000 to $250,000 means you're making progress. Around $250,000 to $500,000 or more means you're in a strong position. And once you're above that, you're likely ahead of the curve. But again, context matters. A person making $70,000 in a low-cost area is playing a different game than someone making $120,000 in a high-cost city with children and a mortgage. Still, your 30s are the decade where wealth should start becoming visible. Not flashy, not fake, visible. This is the decade to get serious. You should know your numbers. You should know your debts. You should know what you invest every month. You should know whether your spending reflects your goals or your impulses. If you're behind in your 30s, here's how you catch up. Increase your income aggressively, kill high-interest debt fast, automate investing, and avoid lifestyle inflation every time your paycheck rises. A lot of people get raises in their 30s and still stay broke because every new dollar gets consumed by a bigger house, better car, more subscriptions, more travel, and more unnecessary pressure. If you want to get ahead, your income has to rise faster than your lifestyle. Now let's move into your 40s. If you're between 40 and 49, this is where the gap between good decisions and bad decisions really starts to widen. By now, compound growth should be doing some work for you. If it's not, then you likely need to make up for lost time with higher savings and smarter financial choices. A rough benchmark for your 40s. If your net worth is under $100,000, you may be behind. If you're around $250,000 to $500,000, you're building. If you're between $500,000 and $1 million, you're in a solid spot. And if you've crossed the $1 million mark in your 40s, you are very likely ahead. Now, let's be clear. That does not mean everyone with less than $1 million is failing. Not even close. But your 40s are when retirement stops feeling abstract. It starts feeling real. So what do you do if you're behind in your 40s? First, stop pretending time isn't moving. Second, raise your savings rate. Not by 1%. I mean materially. Cut the dead weight. Refinance bad debt if possible. Sell things that are draining you financially. Max out retirement accounts if you can. And be brutally honest about the difference between needs and habits. This is also the decade where many people realize they earn decent money but never built actual wealth because they never kept enough of it. So, if that's you, the fix is not shame. The fix is structure. Now let's get into your 50s. If you're between 50 and 59, this is a critical decade. A rough benchmark here, under $250,000, may mean retirement needs major planning. Around $500,000 to $1 million means you're in decent shape. Above $1 million means you're likely in a strong position, depending on lifestyle and expenses. At this stage, the mission changes a little. It's not just about growing. It's about protecting, simplifying, and preparing. If you're behind in your 50s, you do still have time, but you need focus. This is not the time for random financial decisions, risky trends, or pretending everything will somehow work out. What should you do? Increase retirement contributions. Pay off as much debt as possible before retirement. Avoid co-signing bad loans for other people. Review your housing costs. And get serious about what retirement will actually cost you. A lot of people dream about retirement without ever pricing it out. That's dangerous. You need to know, how much will you spend monthly? What income sources will you have? What debt will still be there? What does healthcare look like? Can you realistically maintain your current lifestyle? Now, let's talk about your 60s. If you're between 60 and 69, your net worth target depends heavily on whether you plan to retire early, retire on time, or keep working. But broadly speaking, this is the decade where financial flexibility matters most. A rough range, under $300,000, may create pressure. Around $500,000 to $1 million may be workable depending on spending. Above $1 million gives you more breathing room. And significantly above that puts you in a very comfortable category. If you're in your 60s and feel behind, the strategy is not to panic. It's to get efficient. Protect capital. Reduce unnecessary expenses. Avoid major new debts. Delay withdrawals strategically if possible. And make sure your money is organized, not scattered across forgotten accounts and half-finished plans. At this point, clarity becomes wealth. Knowing what you have, what you need, and what risks to avoid can be just as important as earning more. And finally, let's talk about your 70s and beyond. If you're 70 or older, your net worth matters, but your monthly cash flow and financial stability matter even more. At this point, the goal is not to win some comparison game. The goal is peace. Can your money support your lifestyle? Can you cover healthcare and housing? Do you have a plan for emergencies? Is your financial life simple enough for you and your family to manage? That is what matters. Now, after hearing all of that, some people are going to think, wow, I'm ahead. And some people are going to think, I'm way behind. If you feel behind, I want to say something important. Being behind is not a permanent identity. It is a temporary position. You do not need to fix your entire financial life this week. You just need to stop drifting. Here's the real formula to get ahead at any age. Know your net worth. Track your spending. Cut high-interest debt. Increase income. Invest consistently. And give it time. That's it. Most wealth is not built through one lucky move. It's built through repeated good decisions made for years. So don't obsess over where you should have been. Focus on where you're going next. Because the people who eventually build wealth are usually not the people who started perfectly. They're the people who got serious, stayed consistent, and refused to quit. If you want, pause this video and calculate your net worth today. Not next month, not next year, today. Because once you know your number, you can build a real plan. And that is when things start to change. This is Sovereign Finance. If you want to build wealth, master money, and make smarter financial decisions, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.